Game on.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Pipeline, episode 16. We have quite the show today. We're talking about all 4 of the DCTV shows this week. The Flash, Gotham Knights, Titans, and Superman and Lois, all in kind of one fast go today. Mainly The Flash, though, because that's what was live tonight. Just me today. Let's see some of the people in the chat. Euro the Weredevil, I've never seen you in the chat before, so great to have you. How's it going? Marnie the Moose. I feel like I say your name different every episode, so make sure I'm saying it right. It is Marnie the Moose, right? But hope you're doing well tonight. Hope you're doing all right. And Levi in the chats, welcome. I hope you're having a great one. So as we are kind of just getting our way through, obviously we have a bunch of shows to talk about tonight. I do have a couple of news stories that I do want to talk about. Now, over the last week or so, it was kind of interesting because we did get quite a few little like tidbits, kind of pieces of larger pieces of news to talk about. Some bigger, some smaller. Most of these are kind of like things we either already knew or, I don't know, like things that were almost happened that we just didn't get. So first off, to kind of start off our show here, let's get this in order really quick, guys. Here we go. There we go. So Tom Cavanagh. Now, this is a piece of news. It's kind of funny because we kind of already knew that this was a thing, that this was happening due to like leaks on sets. It's Marnie Moose. Okay, it's Marnie Moose. Okay, so I think it gets kind of weird sometimes, man, because if you're on Twitter and you're like in this fan base, you know a lot of the things that are happening. So it's sometimes really awkward when they like put it out as like official news, and most of us are like, oh yeah, we knew this already. But nonetheless, it is always very cool to see Tom Cavanagh coming back to The Flash. He hasn't been on this season so far, which is kind of insane to think about. Because it is the final season, and Tom Cavanagh has just played such a massive role in the show for so many years, and it is kind of crazy that this might be the least he's ever been in a season of The Flash. I'm trying to think back to last season. Last season he was in Armageddon, right? And he was in like that final arcy thing. And then season 7 was his final season. So yeah, this has to be the like least amount we've ever seen of Tom Cavanagh in a final season of the show, or just like in the season, which is kind of, it's kind of weird, it's kind of awkward, it's kind of sad. And you know, I've heard a lot of I think it's a lot of I won't say drama, but there's been a lot of people who think it should have been Matt Lesher here. Now, I think I prefer this, right? I think Matt needed to be involved this season, which he was involved last week and it was phenomenal. I think that being his final performance and then the series finale being Tom makes the most sense to me. I think Tom needs that respect. I think as a character who not only was here from the very start, an actor who had put so many like dedicated hours into this role, it's only fair that he is the one to finally face off against Barry in the last episode of The Flash. That's just me. Personally, I know a lot of people might disagree and still say it should have been Matt. And I think maybe if like season 1, if after season 1 onward, if it was just Matt, then I would agree that it should have just been Matt here. But I think due to what Tom put into this character, due to the hours that he spent, kind of being the main face of not only the Flash for here, but I think like he will forever be one of the most iconic versions of this character. I think when like, I guess it depends what the like DCU does with this character. But yeah, I felt like they used Tom's version so much to the point I'm numb to it. Not saying he doesn't deserve it here. I am 100% in agreement with you. I think I wish they switched up more, and I wish obviously it wasn't fully their fault because I know Matt was on a different show for like 3 or 4 years. And Tom was just always on set. But no, I would 100% agree. I do think Tom is a character that, or I guess Thawne is a character as Thawne that does feel very non-special anymore. But I still do think he should be, like, I think it should be this version, personally. But yeah. So on to our next kind of story. If anybody has any like updated comments towards that, we can obviously do that. So over the weekend, there was like a big con where a bunch of these like CW stars were answering questions and, you know, get to meet the fans. And there was a lot about Stargirl. So the big kind of story here this week, man, kind of the big one everyone's kind of been talking about, is apparently, and I think the whole video got deleted with like them asking him about it, but apparently the costumes from Stargirl have been burnt from things that I've been hearing, which is quite an insane story. So normally after shows end, like Arrow and Flash and Supergirl and stuff, they put up their costumes in some kind of hall or some kind of something where people can come and visit them, and they keep them for just in case anything happens with those characters. Or, you know, like if anything happens. But apparently they were burnt. I don't understand. Apparently they didn't want them to end up on like eBay or something, but I don't know. If it's just me, I would rather my suits be on eBay than being burnt. Like I would rather at least someone be happy with my suits than like no one to ever be happy like with my suits. And this is kind of sad because I've always said that I want the like DCU Stargirl to be back. Like I want her. It doesn't have to be the same like character, but I would love some of these actors to be able to come back if there's ever like a larger like multiverse story again, either on like Superman and Lois or in like James Gunn's like DCU. I would like them to be able to come back. And so this means I think this either means if they ever do come back, they'll either not have their suits on, which would kind of suck, or they would have to create entirely new, fresh suits for them to wear. And I don't see that happening. I almost feel like it would be even less likely for us to see these characters again now that their suits are gone, which is very sad to hear. Imagine they burn the Flash suit. I cannot, because I think Grant's Flash is the most likely out of any like CW character. I think he would be the most likely to appear in other things. I think I could totally see him 2-3 years down the road. Some crossover event needs him. Maybe if it's Superman and Lois, or if it's a Flash movie, or if it's like a multiverse movie. I think we will see Grant's Flash outside of this show. And I think the Flash is just too iconic to burn those suits. I could not see that. That would be very unfortunate, though. I think someone would need to be fired if they burnt these suits. So, a couple of other things regarding Stargirl here. I'm sorry, I do need to get used to, you know what I want to do? I'm going to do, give me just a minute, guys. I'm so sorry. Let's try this here. So apparently we had some interesting tidbits about season 4. Now we have to take this with a grain of salt. Because I think it's very easy to just kind of say whatever you want at this point, because we're not getting a season 4. You could say, hey, this season takes place on the moon and we fight an angel and we end the season getting burgers. Like, you could just say whatever you want about upcoming seasons. Eric Wallace said that for season 10. We don't know what all he meant for season 10, but apparently Beck Bassinger had talked about a potential season 4 focusing on the multiverse. Now, this would have been really cool. Now, obviously, with them focusing on the multiverse and kind of how we introduced her in the Titans crossover, it does make a lot of fans think, hey, we could have crossed over with shows like Titans, shows like The Flash, or like Superman and Lois, or any of our like multiverse-y DC shows that we love so much. And, you know, obviously that didn't work out. Obviously, what we had here just ended up not working at all. And, you know, I do really feel bad for this cast, because I think that they moved over to this studio expecting crossovers. I think they joined in season 1 and they're this own separate thing. But I think when they moved over to CW, CW is the home of like DCTV crossovers. They were the home of superhero shows. So I imagine, and you know, I've heard all these actors and like actresses be like, you know, talk about wanting to team up with like Supergirl and Batwoman and Flash and all these things over the years. And it really sucks. Like all of the back half actors and actresses from like these shows were really just, and I'm, you know, the like Batwoman cast and even like the Superman Lois cast, that I would all assume that they kind of expected at some point to cross over with all these other characters and shows, and COVID just really messed it all up. But I'll be honest, I think I am in the minority when saying this. I don't know how I would feel about a whole season being dedicated to the multiverse. I don't know how I would feel. Mainly because I think there's so many people, so many superhero projects focusing on the multiverse. You know, of course, the Arrowverse has covered it in depth. The MCU, the DCU, all of these Titans is focusing on it now. And I don't know how I would feel about Stargirl as a show dedicating a whole season to it. Of course, the crossovers would have been sweet, and I really wish we could have had like events, you know, doing all that. But I think a show with such a rich, I think an Earth with such a rich history of characters and ideas and plot lines with like the JSA, I think leaving the Earth, like, you know, leaving Earth 2, I don't know. It's not something that I love straight off the bat. I would have to see, obviously, what the season turned out to be and what kind of, like, the theme of the season would have been. But I don't know. I don't love it straight off the bat. But of course, like, it would have been cool. Like, it would have been cool seeing her interact with, like, Flash and like Dick Grayson and Superman and all the things that we wanted Stargirl to do over the years. Being on the moon fighting an angel sounds a lot better than the final season of The Flash. Maybe. You're not wrong. Yo, Robert in the house. How's it going, Robert? How's it hanging? Great to see you today, buddy. Started kind of a mid-episode and kept escalating. Should have been more about Eddie. If I'm being honest, I don't disagree, and we will talk about that episode in just a little bit here. We have just a couple of news articles. So kind of going along with this, apparently there was a crossover between Flash and Stargirl in the works that got canceled. So I wonder when this would have been. It seems like it wasn't for season 4, but it was a previous one. I wonder if that would have been for, trying to think, for season 2. So what that'd be probably, if I had to bet, it's first season on CW, if I make a bet. So that's what, the Flash season 7 and Stargirl season 2, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it no, yeah, it'd be season 7 of Flash and season 2 of Stargirl, if my theory is right. I think that's probably when they had plans, and then obviously COVID never helped. Season 7 of Flash was very awkward, just like as a whole. Just as a whole, I think that season had a lot of rough things with COVID, and I think that's just a year a lot of things were canceled. But if this was the case, like if this was that year we would have both had this crossover and a Superman Lois and Batwoman crossover as well, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of crossovers have been canned, which really sucks. Do you think it would have been that they teased in where they ended Stargirl season 4 was multiversal? You know, I was thinking about this. I wonder if Jay Garrick was the ending of the show, like if that was always the ending. But instead, look, what was changed instead was like the jump forward. So like if the end of the season, you just have him running in to get like Courtney and being like, I need your help, I'm from Earth Prime or something. I don't know. I was thinking about that though. I would be very curious to see what the normal season 3 plans were, and how that ultimately affected what the season turned out to be. So already wrapping up our Stargirl discussion, and obviously if anyone has any thoughts or feelings as we kind of go into these next couple of topics, send them in. I'll try and answer them the best I possibly can. So yesterday, I was actually currently streaming when all this news was going down, but it was more so focused on the Guardians, and I didn't really want to fledge CW stuff in with that stream. So let's talk about this just really, really quick. So Walker has been renewed for season 4 at the CW. Now, normally this would not be news that I would cover, mainly because I don't watch Walker. And guys, let me know if my audio is good. I didn't check it before, so if I'm a little quiet or a little weird, let me know. But Walker renewed for season 4. This was no surprise to me. I think after All-American, and Walker were the 2 #1 shows I thought would get renewed, because they're both relatively popular for this network and cheap. They're cheap. There's no superpowers, there's no villains, there's no supernatural creatures, there's no any kind of that stuff. It's kind of just your everyday kind of like CW drama, if I'm not mistaken. I actually haven't seen too much of either of these shows, but Walker felt like Walker, for the most part, is their #1 show next to Superman and Lois. So it makes perfect sense to me. That show has a massive fan base and a massive following, so it makes perfect sense to me that this show would get picked up. You know what I mean? Let me know if anyone in the chat is a fan of the show. Audio is good. This is no surprise to me. I think Jared has Tinder on the network. That's true. But with that being said, it did not help his spin-off show. So yeah, Walker Independence, the spin-off show that came out this year, has been canceled, which not much of a surprise. I had said maybe they might want one of the spin-offs. So if that was Walker Independence or All-American Homecoming, I could have seen them wanting one of those shows, just because networks, like, I think network likes having franchises, and I could have seen them wanting to keep the show going. I will say, man, I feel so bad for this actress. I feel so bad for Catherine. I mean, first Green Arrow, and now this. She does not have good luck. And also, her show previously got canceled too. The like supernatural show that she was on. That, I think that was also canceled. So not the best luck on her behalf, and I do feel very bad about that. But no, I you know, I've heard that the show is kind of getting looked around. I hear people like you wanted to put it on, like, I think Paramount Plus would be a very good home for the show. Like, that feels very Paramount Plus-y. I think actually both Walkers would do very well on Paramount Plus, but I don't know. He seems positive that maybe this show can get somewhere else. I know he has like a lot of resources for other stuff. He's a very popular actor, so I hope the show can find a new home. I very much do. Already, and our last one here. So just kind of going along with the CW news. So more cancellations are coming this week, according to Deadline. I'm not ready. The bulk of the CW's existing scripted series will be canceled this week, as the network is transitioning into a new business model and lowering cost of scripted programs. So this is not a surprise either, I don't think, to at least most people, because it, like, we kind of like we knew that only 3 scripted shows at the least, or at the most, would get picked up, and we already have 2. But now we're also being told that potentially this might be it. Like, we were told that there might not even be 3 anymore, now instead being only 2. And it seems like the 2 that are in the running, if they do pick to, you know, bring forward any more shows, would be Superman and Lois and All-American Homecoming. So I hate to even kind of like talk like this, but I would say anything that's not Superman and Lois and All-American Homecoming are canceled, like, for sure. I would say that this is our way of saying, yeah, those shows are officially done. Obviously, we were waiting for that official announcement either this week or next week, but I would say Gotham Knights and Winchesters, and what else do we even have? Kung Fu, and I think there's at least 5 shows that are kind of still out there. I can actually look it up real quick, but yeah, but I would say that this is definitely not a great sign for all of those shows. I think if we are lucky, either Super Mario Lois or All American Homecoming might get a second chance, and that would be absolutely it. Just 1 second, I am quickly looking for the shows that we kind of still have on the air really quick. Oh well, it's fine. So that's all of my kind of news stories here. I do want to, as we move into, give me a second, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm all by myself today, so I'm a little out of the lack a little bit here. Alrighty, so let's start with talking about The Flash. So this is going to be my discussion for season 9, episode 11. So I want to hear for the 5 or so people that are in the chat currently what y'all thought about this week's episode. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it quite yet, how I am feeling about this episode, because I liked some of it, I think. I thought other parts of it was kind of weird. I thought other parts of it was kind of weird and interesting. And I think, we talked about last week our fear. Okay, what's your opinion, Robert? But I think we had a fear that this would be another Barry-less episode, and it practically was. Now, apparently it was out of Grant Gustin's control. Apparently, I don't know why and how this happened. If there was something with Grant Gustin, he couldn't be there. He couldn't attend this week's episode. But I will say I don't love the final episode of this entire show did not have Barry Allen in it. Now, but I will say, I think this is one of the better, at least in the Eric Wallace era of Flash, one of the better Barry-less episodes. I thought this was one of the better Team Flash centered episodes. I almost felt like there wasn't really a moment here where any Team Flash member really angered me. Cecile didn't really anger me. Mark and Keone didn't really bother me too much. Allegra wasn't in it at all. Maybe that's a part of it. She got knocked out very early, but even the parts where these characters are in it, I think they're written pretty solidly, and it makes me wonder why we couldn't get more. And I guess it was very character driven, right? There wasn't very much character stuff at all. Like Cecile didn't have a story going on. Allegra and Chester didn't make out or anything, so maybe that's why there wasn't any real focus on their actual characters. Let's read some of the chats right now. I think it was very uneven. I agree. It felt I just kind of felt like they kind of put it out. It was fine. Episode was all right, not as good as part 1, but I didn't expect it to be good character stuff for Keone. The scene between Malcolm / Eddie was pretty good, and some Irish scenes were also really good. I will say, I think Candace killed it. This episode would not have worked without Candace, I don't think, and I think her just overall, almost like a PTSD type story about losing Barry again felt very real. I think after Crisis and after her disappearing 23,000 times, I think Barry disappearing here and her just having a pretty hard time with that worked for me this week. It really, really did. And I think just her scenes with Allegra and her scenes with her speech to Barry were just really well done. I will say it was pretty slow. When I was giving her speech about Barry and I showed the flashback of Barry, do you think that implication is that Barry has been doing the same thing? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. I felt like they could have put more Eddie stuff in. I will agree. I think this should have been a solo, maybe not solo, but basically I think 80% of it should have been Eddie, and I think the rest of the stuff should have been them I don't know, where's Barry? Because I think Eddie was so good. Nick Cosnett is a really good actor, and that final sequence with him turning into a Joker type character was so good. Definitely should have had more Eddie scenes. Yeah, I think we would all be in agreement that it should have more Eddie, because that actor's so good, and I'm so happy with the Eddie stuff, man, because it's kind of exactly what I always imagined it being. I always imagined, like, not so much this week, but like the very end of this episode, going into the promo for next week, which we will talk about a little bit later. But I thought that I think Frick killed it. I tried, but I don't like the killing stuff. I don't like it, but I think she was tolerable. I have no investment in that character or that just the overall Forces story, but I think this was probably her best episode. My dog is snoring again, guys. I do apologize. We deal with this almost every week. But no, I don't love that the final arc is based around Forces. The Forces were never a storyline that I think I don't think the Forces ever worked. And it feels like Eric has just constantly been trying to make them work, and they haven't for me. I think half of it should have been Eddie, the other half should have been Team Flash. I agree. I agree. I think it would have upgraded the episode for me just a little bit. Yeah, agreed. I'll be honest though, guys. I kind of enjoyed Mark this week. Mark is weird because like when they make Mark a real character and not like a villain, he's good. Like that actor is really good, and I think he plays the like good guy friend well. And like I think when he's just like kind of that like good guy supportive friend, he's better than like half of this cast. It's kind of weird. I almost feel like he added something to the cast this week that was needed. I'm confused on the timeline of the two episodes. Were they one after another? I think this was what was happening while Barry was doing his stuff. Like I think these episodes were going on at the same time. Unless I completely missed the ball. I can't get behind her because she feels like no. I think she's I don't think she's written well at all. She is the like pinnacle of what a plot device is. She's there to move the story along, and the fact that we killed Caitlin for her, I think I still can't get over. I'm still very upset about it. But you know, what can you do? I guess what can you do? I know, what a shame. I mean, did I say that out loud? I mean, Mark wasn't really Mark for most of it, so maybe that's why. Maybe. But even like at the end, like I think like at the end where it's like, I'm gonna help you out, and that felt very, I don't know, Mark. I don't know. I am confused why they keep making him a villain though. Because like it's like that's all they know what to do with him. Like each time we see him, even when he's quote unquote good, they have to make him bad again. And I think that's a little frustrating. I think where Mark was deranged was one of the best parts of the episode. Maybe. See, that's what I thought, but Eddie's story started end of last week and finished this week. Well, I think Eddie's in the future currently, right? So I don't think it really matters when that happens. I think it just kind of like that's happening elsewhere. So, but we'll see though. But no, I think Eddie is kind of what I'm most excited to see. And I think next week very much seems like I think Eddie is going to end up being a really good villain because I think we kind of have the perfect amount. He seems like a character. I mean, I would have loved to have seen more of Eddie. I would have loved a whole like 9-episode arc with him. But I think if we spend all of next week building him up as a villain, and then episode 13 is just your full on like wrath on like Central City, I think we have a solid villain here. Real solid villain. Maybe. What was episode 6? Was that the Becky episode? If that was the Becky episode, I would trade that for that then probably, because I did not like that episode. Not at all, man. Yeah, honestly, I was confused about her at first because her comments made me think it was in current day at first. But I guess she just aged really, really well. I feel like they could have made Caitlyn come out of the chamber with powers. I agree. I was thinking that. I don't know why they couldn't have just made her that Caitlyn. I know. I guess they wanted Barry to go through another death for episode 9. But if that was the case, they should have had him actually mourn her and not just kind of like forget. Because I think Barry's arc this season was supposed to be about letting go and being able to move forward. And I think that's cool in theory, but we never focus on it. A thing I thought about, and this has no relevance whatsoever, but I do think it's kind of cool. I just thought about it a couple of while ago. The first Arrowverse villain ever is a Malcolm, and our last Arrowverse villain ever is a Malcolm, and I think that's kind of cool. I know he's not really Malcolm, he's Eddie, but I think it's kind of cool that they both kind of start and end with a somewhat Malcolm character. Teddy Sears isn't going to be unmasked in season 9, unfortunately. Then why did they bring him back? Is that true? I saw something about it. I didn't look too much into it because I wasn't trying to... I want some stuff to be somewhat of a mystery for the final episode. But I did see something where he didn't share scenes with Grant or something, which is very unfortunate. It didn't click until you said it, but absolutely they have to show where Eddie went after the Singularity. I think next week we will fully explore Cobalt Blue. Next week seems fully all about him versus Barry. I hope so. Next week looks really good, and we will talk about that promo shortly. Barry didn't really have an arc until last week. No, I think that's the disappointing part, because it felt like we episode 1 felt like we were really building to it, and then they just dropped it, and then they brought it back again like he forgot that arc. It's weird. I don't know if Zoom will remember Earth 2. It depends if he was even from Earth 2. Right? He from all we know, he's from Earth Prime, unless he was from Earth 2, but they just didn't know Earth 2 existed. You know what I mean? He kind of like a Red Death thing, where he was from the multiverse, but they just didn't know it, type thing. But I have a hard time believing that with a whole team of smart people they couldn't put together that he was from another Earth. The first 8 were truly a waste. The more I think about it, I am very disappointed with this final season. I've been trying to, I am a positive guy. I like to say positive for the most part, but I was very disappointed. People can get memories from before Crisis. That's true. I don't know if I need that. I mean, I would like a line of dialogue explaining where Zoom came from, how they beat him. I would love something, but I guess I don't need it. If we just get that menacing Zoom back, I'll be happy. I don't know. I just love Zoom. I'm glad he's back. I don't think he'll bother me too much no matter what they do. Let's see here. I thought about it yeah, for sure. Euro the War Devil. I think that's a really dope name. I like it. Welcome. Haven't seen you around here before. It's great to have you, man. I feel like even how these last few episodes turned out this season is in my bottom 3, sadly. I agree. I wasn't sure where it would place for me among seasons 5 and 7, but I think it's very solemnly in that 7th spot. Because season 4 had season 4 is right above that, and season 4 had so much good stuff, man. Season 4 was such a banger. I think it still plants in this bottom 3. Stranger in the House. How's it going, Stranger? Stranger, what did you think about this episode? Did you like it? I'm looking at my notes here for the episode. I agree. Just barely. I need to rewatch season 5 though, because I feel like I might like. I hated 5 when I first watched it, but I might have to look back on it because at least season 5 had like Caitlin and Joe and Cisco in it, and even Nora, which I liked sometimes. I didn't love Nora then, but I thought she had her moments. So we now know it's Eddie and not Malcolm. Yes, it is officially Eddie, which I'm happy about. I wanted it to be Eddie. I wanted it to be that character. I would have been fine if it was like his son or like a doppelganger or something, but I'm glad it is full form Eddie Thawne. I think that's the most interesting story. It seems like he went through the portal at the end of season 1, went to the future and lost his memories, which I think is the best way to tell the story. In my humble opinion, not to shade anyone else, because I know a lot of people wanted it to be like his son and stuff, but I like this version, I think. I'm trying to look at my notes real quick. What did we think of Speed Force Nora here? Because I'll be honest, I'm kind of sick of Speed Force Nora. Like, I used to love that character. After season 7, man, I just kind of killed me on her, I think. But she wasn't bad here, I guess. She served her purpose, I guess. Feels like she's always in pain now, though. Like, it feels like the Speed Force is always dying or getting corrupted. I am glad that actress is here, though. Like, it seems like she's going to be an active part of these final 4 episodes, or I guess now final 2. Because let's see. Last week she was Nora. This week she was Speed Force. And I think next week she might be Jones. Or maybe it's episode 13. But I think Jones also appears this season. So it's cool. Dude, season 7 ruined that character for me. I agree. We were talking about this like a little bit ago, but forces just never worked for me as a concept, I don't think. At least not as like villains. Like, I think forces could be cool, but I think making them villains in the way Eric Wallace did them didn't work for me. Yeah, I basically covered everything I needed to cover. So I'm just let you guys send in any final thoughts you have, and then we might move on to Superman and Lois from yesterday. Let's move over to that slide very quickly here. So, again, spoilers going into this episode of Superman and Lois. Let me turn over my notes page. A lot of people, man, not liking the season. And that kind of hurts my heart a little bit, because I think this has been very good. I think the season's been spectacular. Last week when they possessed Joe spoke was they didn't care about the negative Speed Force avatar plan. Maybe. I just loved having Evil Joe for me. I loved Evil Joe, and I can look past any issues I guess I have. How the season is really good. I think, like, I love it. I think for certain people, it might not be made for everyone, because it is a very hard story to watch. But I think that's what makes it even better. Like, I think these serious stories are so important. And, yeah, I think it's just very heavy for people. And I think a lot of people are getting tired of the ongoing cancer story. I think that sucks for a lot of people that are not really digging it. But I am Loving it so much. I think it's amazing. So what did everyone think of season 3, episode 8? I can't believe we're in this back half already. Like, we're almost done with the season. So we start off the episode. Iris. Lois has got even worse. She's I love that each episode we are like progressively. I don't love it, but I like that we are like progressively seeing Iris's illness get worse and worse. I think that's a really good way to tell that story, because we don't normally get to see the full story when it comes to cancer. Like, I think a lot of times it comes very quickly. Like, I think we see the end of it, or like the like beginning, not really that middle ground of them actually going through the motions each and every week. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I think not beautiful. I'm kind of just stammering now, but like this episode was a lot of like Lois fighting the good fight and trying to find herself amongst this illness. And I appreciate that. Like, it felt like a good change of pace where the episode wasn't dedicated to necessarily the illness, but Lois trying to get through that and find herself again. I think that was really cool. Let me look at chat because chat's going crazy. Solid for me. Good to hear it. Super and Lois has been peak TV this season. Bruno, Pia were usually phenomenal. Man, they are making me love these characters. Like, I'm supposed to hate you, and there's a part of me that just wants them to be happy, and I love that. Like, I love liking a villain, and I think they've done it in a way that makes him so sympathetic. And there's a scene where like they're all having dinner, and he's making like rooster noises, and it's the cutest thing. And then I was like, oh yeah, he's our villain. I have to hate you. Many are buzzing about the potential Fringe revival or reboot with high hopes for a perfect year and return to the show. Is that true? Because I'm watching it for the first time right now. I'm on season 1. That'd be pretty sick if I finished it just in time for it to like come out. Interesting. That I'd be. I mean, I don't know anything about the future show and what it turns into, but I'm loving it currently. Did I say Lois? Did I say Iris twice? I think I may have. Okay, this would be wild. Iris. Do you think we will get a spin-off in Arrowverse? It's the end of the CW verse, actually. I don't think we get any more Arrowverse DC shows at all. I think Superman and Lois Gotham Knights are the last ever CW shows, or like CW DC shows. I think after Walker and All American and potentially these last show or shows, I think CW is done with scripted content. I really do. I don't think we'll ever see a new CW show, at least not for a while. Put It Together is Lois, not Iris. Yeah, I think I maybe said it a couple times. I'm sorry. The way this week has gone, I generally think that they're going to just say to the worked versus Pia not. Yeah, no, I'm nervous about. I thought Pia was going to die this week. I thought we were going to end the episode with her officially dying, and maybe we're saying that, saving that for next week, because I think the story ultimately ends with her dying, Superman and the like DOD not being able to save her, and then Bruno going on like a rampage. Like, I think Bruno is going to snap and lose it, and that's kind of how we go into these last final episodes. We'd have to see though. Arrowverse can move to HBO Max. There's not anything to move over there though. Like, Flash is the final. Like I would love that. Like, I would love to get more Arrowverse content. I think that'd be amazing. I think they're done. Like, I think this is it for the Arrowverse. Now, Superman and Lois, on the other hand, maybe. But I also think that's kind of unlikely, unfortunately. The only way I could see the Arrowverse moving forward outside of the Flash Season 9 would be a Arrow movie in about 4 to 5 years, or like an Arrow limited series or something. But I think that would be a one and done as well. Yeah, I mean, again, I would love it. Like if they announce tomorrow, we're bringing back all the canceled shows and we're making spinoffs and we're making movies and comics, I'd be like, heck yeah, man, I'm in. But I wouldn't say it's likely, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Bruno saves Lois Lane, the woman who will put him in jail, but can't save the love of his life. No, I think Lois Lane has to go through her illness the regular way. I think any form of like some special medicine, some super cure is all in very bad taste. And maybe that's a storyline they can ride where like he has a cure and they have to decide if they want to take it because it might not be ethical or it might not be fair to everyone else on the planet. I think we might do that, but I ultimately think she has to make it through on her own, or the storyline, I think the way they've been telling the story would just feel like a big waste. I've talked about a Dreamer spinoff. I would love a Dreamer spinoff. I would love one. I love Dreamer. I love both of those actors so much. And I talked about that a lot after Supergirl ended. I talked about wanting one. I think movies would work best for her. Like I think like a series, like a trilogy or something would work really cool in like the whole Dreamer format. I think that would be amazing. But I hope at least we still get like comics, and I would love her to show up in like animation, and I hope that she somehow gets to keep working with that character because I think it's a very special character. Let's see here. No, that's what I meant. It's Bruno's hospital. His good quality treatment will save her through chemo. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm curious how we end. I will say, after this week, I said no previously. Like, the last couple weeks, I said, I don't think Lex kills Bruno. But now that we know that Bruno framed Lex for murder, I think when Lex gets out, he might kill Bruno. I don't know when that would happen. Probably season finale, maybe. Like maybe Bruno goes to jail and then we end the season with Lex going in jail and like killing him or something. But after that, I don't think like Lex will not just let Bruno get away scot-free with doing that. I don't think personally. It's up to Berlanti and James Gunn, and Arrowverse characters can make. Yeah, no, I just don't think that they're in that high of demand, unfortunately. Like, we love these characters and we love these shows, but I don't think it's going to be as in demand as other stuff. And I think we're at a point, and again, I would love the Arrowverse to like move forward, but I do think we're at a point with both the Arrowverse and the like Snyderverse that we do kind of need to take a pause and be like, all right, let's focus on this one thing so far, and then we can move into Elseworlds. I bet down the line we could see these Arrowverse cameos and come forth. We talked about this early on. I think I would be shocked if this is the last time we see Grant Gustin as Flash. Like, I think we will see him make cameos and, you know, come back at some point as that character. But I think for now we need we might need to move on just a little bit. James Gunn, through his timeline things, showed that it's possible Nicole could show up as a doppelganger of her. So I would love that, man. I would love if he did something with Dreamer. And I could see it. Like, I think people... what was I going to say? I think if any character moved from the Arrowverse to, like, the main big screen stuff, it would be Dreamer. Like, she showed up in Fortnite. She has her own comic series. I think she is the one character that could move forward, which would be great. Imagine Nate were as Brainy. I don't know who that is. Let me look them up real quick. It's very possible I do know who they are, and I just don't recognize their name. Oh, I could see that. Maybe. But yeah. But moving into more of the Super Loa stuff. True. True. Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. But a big element of this episode is this massive dinner party between the Bruno Mannheim's family and Nat. And again, we were talking about this, but I wanted this to go well. I wanted just these two lovebirds to have this happy ending because they're so cute together. I love seeing Nat happy. This is one of the first times it feels like she's genuine happy. But at the end of the episode, we have this show off between John Henry Irons and Bruno. And as much as I loved this fight, I didn't understand why Bruno. I think Bruno handled this terribly. He didn't step outside with him and start brawling. Just in the middle of dinner, just starts beating him up and starts attacking him in front of his child, in front of Nat, in front of all his men. And I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. I thought it was kind of weird. I guess all the people there outside of Nat and maybe his son he owns, like he has their money. He's in their pocket, I guess. So I guess they didn't really care. But I thought doing it in front of both Nat and Mateo felt just so random to me. I don't know if I'm the only one. Maybe I am. But I thought that fight between Onomatopoeia and Clark and John Henry Irons. Of course, I love getting Steel back. I love Steel so much. We've only had a suit up twice this season, 3 times. So it's cool seeing that suit up. And of course, it's broken again. That suit's always broken. I get they probably have to because of budget, but I think it's always kind of funny. Notice there are only custom was mobsters. I feel like this happens way too often. Sure. No, I thought it was a really fun fight scene. And of course we end with Pia getting hurt. Again, I thought we were gonna kill her, but she's hurt and she's in the DOD. And now they have the upper hand, I guess. Which I thought was kind of fun. I don't know. No, and then obviously we end this episode with Bizarro opening his eyes, and I assume we're going to be dealing with that next week. Is it just me, or did Pia's mouth when she went extra powerful went wider than normal? Oh, it did. It looked very from Guardians 2 when both Rocket and Yandu are going through that space portal thing and their faces are stretching. Kind of gave me that vibe. It looked kind of silly, but I thought it was fine. I thought it looked okay. I didn't have an issue with it or anything. I'm trying to look at my notes here. We also had a plot line with Jonathan. Sorry. Yeah, Jonathan, and he's officially a junior firefighter, which I was very happy for him. But now he's in hot water with Kyle, and Jordan helped save the day, and now Jonathan's getting blamed for it, which it was okay, I think. I'm curious where it's going to go because now it seems like Kyle is on to Jordan. It seems like he kind of suspects there's some supernatural thing at play here. So I don't know where do we take that story. It's weird because Kyle is the only one that doesn't know anything. Kyle is the only one. He's the only cast member in the dark. So does he catch up to Jordan and Clark? Does Jonathan tell Kyle what happens? Does he see it happen? Do they tell him? I honestly thought we could have just ended the season with Kyle still knowing nothing, but I think now that we're introducing this plot line, that maybe maybe he finds out. And I'm okay with that. I'm pretty indifferent. I don't think the show really changes too much if he knows or if he doesn't. But I mean, I'm at a point with like Secret Identities where I like them in theory, but as like a weekly show, they get so annoying so quickly. Hopefully, I hope Cisco can come back. Let me read here. Bruno was absolutely brutal this week. Loved how he covered his knuckles, but it was really didn't help much. No, Bruno. I think Bruno is a great villain, y'all. I love Bruno. I'm sad. I'm sad we're almost done with him, but I think what he's doing with this character, because I didn't think he would still. I'll be honest. I didn't think he like episode 8. I did not think he would still be here. I really didn't. I thought he would have got either killed off or replaced, or some other big baddie would have took over by now. But I'm happy. Like, I don't need some like big cosmic supervillain. I think a more personal, down to earth villain who works here. But I do wonder, like I don't think he is the final threat, because I do think you need some muscle, some kind of big brooding something. So I assume that's connected to Bizarro. Is it Doomsday? Is it Cancer? Is it some cosmic something that comes out of Bizarro? I don't know, but I'm very curious. And also Lex is still here, right? Like Lex has to come into play somehow. I know me and Taz have talked about maybe that's more so leading into season 4. I don't know why there needs to be detective work to assume that there's someone else helping in the world with Superman in it. Yeah. I will say, though, I've been really enjoying Detective Clark. I've been really enjoying those two together. I think those are a really fun pairing of characters. And also just like him and Chrissy, I think is a lot of fun. But it's just nice seeing Clark being able to do this stuff both last week and this week. Just give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. And then, yeah, that's basically all the big stuff. We had like a subplot with Lana trying to find tickets, find like someone to like give her like tickets to. That was fine. I had very indifferent. It was fun seeing Sam trying to like get back out there and date. I assume we'll end the season with him with like a girlfriend or something. Oh, sure. Sure. Okay. No. I'm sorry. I completely misread that. That's true. Like I would just blame it up to like Superman did a thing. Like Superman helped me out, and like case is closed, I guess. What happened to Supergirl's Inner Gang? So Inner Gang, that was season 5, right? Or is it season 4? I don't have much memory when it comes to Supergirl, y'all. I don't really remember. I assume they beat him, though. And this is a different Inner Gang, so not totally relevant, I guess. With how Tal-Rho turned out, I don't really see him as a villain. I know he was, but still wasn't really. No, I mean, I think Tal-Rho was a villain, but he turned around and got a little bit of a redemption. So I can't even recognize Nicole when she's wearing her mask. Yeah, maybe. I'd say so far he's the best villain. Oh, 100%. I think he's absolute. I think this season as a whole did something that I've been wanting the show to do, and that's just to make new rogues. Like we had Henry from episode 1, we have Onomatopoeia, we have Lex Luthor, we have Bruno Mannheim. Like I loved Tal-Rho. I thought he was pretty solid. But this season feels like the first time where we actually have like a set of rogues villains throughout the season. But yeah, I do want to quickly we probably won't be talking about Gotham Knights tonight because I'll be honest, as much as I liked that episode, I don't have much to say about it. So I do want to quickly talk about Titans this week. I don't know how many of you watched Titans, because we are already coming up on the hour mark, and I do only want to be here for another 20-30 minutes or so. So I want to talk about... Give me 1 minute, y'all, as I gear up my notes. So yeah, season 1, episode 11, the penultimate episode of Titans, which is crazy. Like, in just a couple of hours, we will have the series finale of Titans, which is absurd to me. Like, it's basically done. Like, the show is over. And obviously next week we will have a full-on talk about that episode. But yeah, I just can't believe it's over. Let me read some of these chats real quick. See for me how Tao turned out, whatever I see season 1 of here. Yeah. I haven't watched Titans since it came back. It's been solid. Oh, season 1. Oh goodness, that's been a while. Next week? No, it's literally tomorrow, man. Like, the final episode airs tomorrow. It's crazy. We are talking about season 4. We are talking about just this episode. Just very quickly, and my thoughts. And I'll say I loved spoilers for this episode. If you guys care about spoilers, if there's anyone who hasn't caught up. Tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Like, I mean, like, I think it comes out in like 4 or 5 hours, man. Like, it's crazy. What if Mythcard Brooks appears on Superman Lois season 4? That's Jimmy Olsen, right? I don't think so. I doubt so. I think he's busy with like Mortal Kombat. But I loved the Tim Drake and Jason Todd stuff. I loved it so much. Not like it might be some of my favorite stuff in all of Titans. Like, I think it's just really, really good. I would do someone else to play Jimmy. Oh yeah, same. I think season 4 bringing someone else. But no, I think it does really feel like, to me, my favorite stuff this season are the stuff that aren't revolving around like the supernatural stuff. That feels like my least favorite stuff so far. And I feel really bad about that because I think Titans can work very well in like this like supernaturally area. Even though the like old Titans show did some cool stuff, like supernatural. I think Raven lends himself very well to tell these stories. But I think I do like the more grounded, down to earth stories, like the Robin stuff, like the Starfire stuff, even like the Beast Boy type stuff. I think the season has piqued my interest more than the like Brother Blood storyline. But I will say Brother Blood is killing it. I think that actor from either I think it's Vampire Diaries. I think that's what he's from. He's killing it. I think he's amazing. No, I mean, honestly, that's kind of all I kind of have to say about this one. I thought it was kind of cool getting to see Superboy come back to the good side, come back to our side. Just because I have not liked his arc this season. I think his I'm a villain now and I'm son of Lex Luthor, it's been so annoying. And I think typically I wouldn't have an issue. Both? Thank you. Normally I wouldn't have an issue with the storyline, but it's the final season, and I guess they didn't know that. But I hate that Connor's final stuff is going to be him as a villain. So I'm very glad going into the season finale, series finale, he is on our side. He's still bald, which sucks, but he's on our side and he's trying to help us. And we end the episode with Superboy versus Brother Blood, and he fully turns into Brother Blood. And a part of it's kind of sad that they saved that for the season finale. It would have been cool having full on Brother Blood for 2 or 3 episodes at least, I think. I don't know how it originally ended. If maybe at first they wanted it to go into season 5, kind of like Trigon, or even like Deathstroke, how like he came back this season. So maybe he was a villain that didn't just get beat in like one episode. But yeah, no, I'd be curious to see kind of how we wrap it up tomorrow and how we kind of finish it all off. And of course, Lex Luthor has been trying to like replicate powers and replicate Starfire's powers, because she's the only one that can defeat Brother Blood. I thought that was kind of fun. I'm honestly shocked, and maybe he still will, but I kind of thought Lex wasn't really dead. Like, I thought we were going to circle around on Lex Luthor, but we haven't yet. So I don't know where we're taking. I don't know. I guess he's just dead, which makes him. I don't know. It kind of sucks that we casted Lex just to kill him off in like one episode. But yeah, that's all I really have to say for Titans. Obviously, I will talk about it more in depth next week, as there's no Super Lois, there's no Gotham Knights. So next Tuesday, I think we will strictly talk about this episode, or episode 12, I guess. So yeah, with all that being said, we have some promos to watch. We have 3 promos to talk about tonight that I do want to talk about really, really quickly. I will try and get through these as fast as I possibly can, because it is getting a little late for me. But yeah, let's move into our first promo.
I need to know how I'm alive.
I need to find the Flash.
You sacrificed your life to save me.
Everyone forgot about me.
I need your help to fight this thing that's attacking me and my family through time.
I could have had a whole life. Now I have a chance to change that.
So obviously this is the promo for the Flash next week, and I'll be honest, I think this is my most anticipated episode next week, or I guess of like the like next upcoming episodes. I think Super Lois looks really good. This Titans final episode looks probably gonna be pretty good, but like, this is what we've been waiting for forever. Like, this is like, we've been waiting for this stuff since season 2. And it's finally happening. Like, Eddie Thawne has come back as Go Up Blue. This is it. This is the thing people have been begging for. This is the thing that we've been waiting for like 7 years, and I can't believe, like, it's literally everything I ever imagined. Cobalt Blue coming back to life, realizing the like life he lost, and wanting to get revenge on Barry and his family. Like, that's what we've been asking for, and I think this back and forth between Barry and Eddie is going to be really, really good here. I literally cannot wait. And he says he's going through time, so I wonder if we're going to see some stuff from like the past. It's perfect. Like, I think this is the perfect final arc. Perfect final villain. I'll be honest, last night tonight, seeing all the like season 1 footage made me so happy. Just so good. And of course, Nora's back. I wonder if they're going to explain where Bart is, or if they just won't mention it. Taj Flash is going to be amazing. Yes, it will. I'm so excited. But no, this all looks just really, really, really good. I'm very excited because this is him. Looks like him in Star Labs, maybe. Looking at the history, their wedding, the marriage, and her time with Barry, and I'm very excited for Eddie and what was I gonna say? Eddie and Iris, I think. I'm sorry, I'm just so hyped. I'm not even like thinking straight. But I think Eddie and Iris interacting is what I'm most excited for, because that's just a show off that we've been wanting for so long. And I also hope, I know Joe is back not next week, but for the series finale. I hope Joe gets some lines of dialogue with Eddie. And I wonder what Nora thinks of Eddie. I feel like that could be a nice thing, because if Eddie never died, there's a chance Nora never would have been born, right? Because if Iris married Eddie instead of Barry, Nora wouldn't exist. So that could be a fun little thing. him in his little trench coat. So it does seem like he's fully in Star Labs. I wonder how he gets here. Is it just like the negative speed force that gets him here? I'm so excited. This is all old footage. But no, this all looks amazing. I love it. What are people saying? Someone who wanted the story done in season 3, really excited about this. No, I'm so excited. Like, this just feels like everything we've been begging for. This feels like straight from the YouTube comments. This feels straight from like a Pagey video that he's been. Man, do you guys know how many Pagey videos he has made about Cobalt Blue? Like, I think he's made like 20 of these things. So I'm so excited. Oh, 100%. 100%. I think part 1 was better than all of the Red Death arc. Like, I still enjoy that arc for what it's worth. But no, this is already so much better. I'm so excited. Taj in the house. Good to see you, buddy. I'm actually shocked with how much screen time. Sure. But before Eddie died, it was already written in the stars that Iris marries Barry. That's true, but he might not believe that, right? Like, it was probably destiny, but he could still blame Barry, and he could still possibly blame Nora for being like that child. I'm sorry, that child that he could have had with Iris, kind of. 9x12 is already better than the majority of this week's episode. Oh yeah, definitely. Next week's just kind of looks like what I've wanted. I think we'll have a really solid final 2 episodes. I think they'll end it off with a bang. Maybe. He might. I wonder where he gets it. Is it like last season where it kind of just like creates like around his body? Maybe. I could see us getting it next week. I think they need to do a lot next week because I also think there's a lot to do in episode 13. So I think do as much as you possibly can next week, and episode 13 just be like a fun, like final battle type thing. Just make it very fun. So I think next week is going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So this is next Wednesday. So no hiatus, thankfully. Alrighty. Let's get into the promo that, you know what, we're not going to do Gotham Knights because I think I'm the only one here that watches it. So I'll save that for next week because we don't have a promo we don't have an episode next week. So we'll do that now. So let's watch this Superman and Lois promo really quick, and then I will let you guys out of here because it's getting late. It's 10:30. Let's do this.
It's one of the things I love about you. You see the best in people, even your enemies.
Wake him up. There's something I need him to do.
You're keeping your husband from his dying wife.
This is a mistake.
We need to end this.
No!
So I wonder how much of this episode, I wonder how much of this promo is like false advertising, because they set this promo up as if it's like a Superman versus Steel showdown, like a civil war between Superman and Steel, which I'm not against. I wouldn't be against like an one episode only Clark versus Steel, because this is a thing that Clark is very close to. He's very close to this Bruno Mannheim storyline, as we saw this week. He showed up to their date. I'm very curious. It seems like things are getting personal. I hope we see him suit up as well. Like, I wonder if we'll get like a mini like rematch between Clark and Steel this week. But it seems like Bizarro might. He says, "Wake him up. We need him." But I think that might be Henry, right? That might be Henry Miller and not Bizarro. But we'll see. I would not be shocked if Bizarro. I think he'll maybe wake up at the end of episode 10 or 9. Like he'll wake up at the end of the episode, like officially. And then that for like the final 5 episodes, we really deal with Bizarro and Lex and Bruno going mental, I guess, because I said that she died last week. I think she definitely dies this week. I think, or like next episode. I don't see a world where Pia makes it out of the season alive. I ultimately think she dies. Bruno goes crazy, and that's when the season really gets a hold of things. Where's that shot? There's a shot of these men surrounding. They look like they're surrounding Clark, but the guns seem pointed at Bruno. Are these like... Maybe these are like DOD men? Maybe? Yeah, I think they might be. And they're closing in on Bruno, so maybe they have enough to take him in. It'd be kind of interesting. But no, next week looks really good. As always, the show always looks just like a really good show. What's happening here? I'm gonna rewatch this bit right here.
It's one of the things I love about you. You see the best in people.
Ah, is that... They're like flying together, right?
It's one of the things I love about you. You see the...
Interesting. That scene's going to break me, I think. I think that's going to be a really sweet scene here. Him flying Lois up. What's this here?
People, even your enemies.
We haven't seen her with the boys in a couple of episodes. And Sarah. So we got all the kids kind of hanging out. That's interesting. Their DOD taking Bruno to Pia. Maybe. That sounds right. I think... I cannot see your comment. I think Clark wants Bruno to see her, but John Henry says to... Yeah, no, I think we're going to see a bit of like I don't want to say battle, but like a bit of a conflict between these two characters. I hope... I don't know. I don't want it to involve with too much drama, but I would like a mini fight, I think. I think that could be kind of cool. And John Henry. I wonder... Not John Henry. John Miller, right? Henry Miller. I wonder if he gets him out to try and get Pia back. Like, I wonder if he needs him to wake up to rescue her from, like, the DOD. And that's one of the fights here. This episode, just by the promos, looks like it's going to have the most, like, Superman-y type things of the season. Or I guess at least from, like, episode 1 or 2. Because these last couple have been very focused on the cancer stuff. Which, of course, I like. I like this cancer storyline. But I am excited to get a lot of, like, superhero-y stuff with Bizarro and Henry Miller and Clark and Steele and maybe Bruno and DOD. So I'm excited for all this stuff. I think the shouting of no in the rain was Jordan in the tower. Yeah, I don't think there's any reuse shots here. I don't think so, at least. But guys, with that all being said, that's all I have tonight. Next week we will be talking about, I think we will save that Gotham Knights trailer for next Tuesday when we talk about Titans. I'm excited. Next week we'll talk about the season finale of Titans. And then that following Wednesday, hopefully if I'm off, we would talk about the penultimate episode of The Flash, which I'm very sad for. I can't believe, like, we're at that point, man. We're like towards the end of almost everything, guys. But it's very it had to come sooner or later, I suppose. Right? But with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for chatting with me for an hour, almost an hour and a half. It was just me today, so everyone that comes in and chats means the world to me. Really, really does. Trying to think, this should be it for me for the rest of the week, unless I have some kind of video coming out. Of course, hopefully 2 streams next week, talking again, Titans, Flash, all that fun stuff. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Marnie. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you, Stranger. Thank you, King Vader. Thank you, Taj. Thank you, all the people who stopped in today. Always means the world to me. But without further ado, I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye-bye.